Hey, hello there, everybody. Hey, Statto, how's it going?
Back again. How's it going?
Indeed. Oh, did I ask?
This is diet water.
Diet water? Is it not flavoured with mangoes or anything? Or?
It doesn't have any of that.
Hang on a
What
second.
does distilled mean? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
What was that?
This is Fever Tree Mediterranean tonic water.
That's kind of like what I drink, sort of.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And it's going into a glass that does not have gin in it.
Oh, mine's going into my mouth.
It's usually got gin in it, but I like this stuff so much, so I'm just drinking actual tonic water. Needs a bit of drink, to be honest.
Oh, shoot. Extra there.
Let's see. We've got. Oh, there we go. I'm scrolling back here. I'm lazy when it comes to this StreamYard thing right now. Here we go. Mr. Storm, Lucifer, good evening. And
hey.
Hello, peeps.
We got Peep. We got Peep.
Hey.
We got Lucifer Storm. Good times. Good times all around.
And hey, Pete, good to see you. You're going to have to tell us what you've been having for dinner when you join us, because you know how much we like talking about what we're eating and drinking.
That's the kind of excitement you can find every Thursday on this show.
Subscribe, hit that like.
Oh, I had pizza yesterday. That was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, actually, I had. I mentioned the other night. It was like I mentioned on the stream that we were at a friend and we were drinking homemade Russian vodka. In the garden, socially distancing, of course.
Is that just regular vodka you drink really fast?
No, it was really nice. I reckon a spicy vanilla taste to it. The postman makes it. He's a good postman, I'm going to say. And
postman always drinks twice.
Indeed, very good. That was a good film. Both of them. I thought both of them were good films. Anyway, yeah. After that, once we got home, it was pizza. So all you could do after drinking a quarter bottle of vodka is to order pizza. That's pretty much. I had plans for making this really big dinner, but no way. Yeah. I'm going to look at that. Just to let everybody know that there is a magnificent comic book out there. There's campaigns in demand. It's called Ailsa Dark, Werewolves and Bampots. That's the last time I mention it on the stream. Yay! Turn that off.
Wow.
How's that? Yeah, actually, there's a miniature shell there. What's that like? Anyway, this is Wullie and Statto. This is our 13th Wullie and Statto at the movies, and it's a special review episode. We were going to just do like a review of the year's movies, but to be honest, we haven't seen most of them, and the rest of them haven't been released because of the pandemic, and so they're being held back, a lot of the movies that we would have seen. So we've made it 2019 and 2020 combined. And even then, it was quite hard work, wasn't it, Statto?
Yeah. This one was, this was a grind to figure it out. I didn't realize how few I've seen.
Yeah, me neither. I've been watching lots of recent movies in the past like a couple of weeks. Some pretty good ones as well. But yeah. Oh, here we go. A tomato fish bake thingy and mini sweet corns. Interesting. I like mini sweet corns.
Peep.
I wasn't even going to mention them, but as soon as you bring it up, I mean, we should have had a new Batman made by the Apes director, though, shouldn't we?
Had to have been something straight to streaming.
Yeah. Yeah, there's got to be something straight to streaming, you know?
That seems like the worst thing. You got like, yes, at straight to video, straight to DVD, and they were usually like the clunkers. Now straight to streaming is like, it could be even worse.
Yeah. I've got one of those in my list.
Ooh.
It's not in my top 5, as it were. But what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be doing like a top 5, but so it's worked out that it's really a top 10 because we don't have any crossovers. which is nice. And we've not seen all of each other's movies too, so we're going to
Yeah, mine's got a question mark instead of an exclamation point behind it.
Does it?
Top 5 picks?
No, mine are all top 5 picks. So
okay.
yeah. So I'm going to start with the honourable mentions.
Yes. Do that.
Yeah. So honourable mentions. I'm going with. I've got a whole bunch of things made up here, so that I can start with honourable mentions. I'm just wondering, did I spell that right? Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Sure.
These are all my honourable mentions that I kind of like put up there. There's
I
a
forgot
few.
about Shazam.
Yeah, because that was 2019.
That's
was
right.
the good
like
Captain
that one,
Marvel
right?
movie.
That should have been on my list.
Yeah. Hang on a minute. Hey, don't get me excited, Pete. Okay, yeah, coming back to this. Yeah, there's a few on here. There's 2 Chadwick Boseman films on here. Because and there's 21 Bridges was like the guys that did the Russo brothers. They produced that. And it's on Amazon Prime. And it's kind of a generic kind of cop movie sort of thriller. But it's old school. It's so well made that you kind of like you feel as if you've missed movies that are just well put together, and it's got a leading man at the centre of it who is just at the top of his game. So he's not got too much to work with, and he brings his personality to it in a way that he wasn't really allowed to do in the last Black Panther movie. So that I put that in there at the last minute because I just I thought about it when I was watching Ma Rainey's Black Bottom on Netflix, which is another one of my honourable mentions. Again, mostly for Chadwick Boseman, who gives an incredible performance. He will win posthumous awards everywhere for this one performance, and he deserves them. He's amazing in this film. Whether you like the film or not, and I quite like the film, anybody who watches it will come away thinking, yeah, that's an amazing performance. Rocketman surprised me because it was a really good kind of musical biopic type thing. I had a thoroughly good time watching that. Again, I liked The Irishman, but it was just a wee bit too long.
It wasn't like the 70-year-old beating the heck out of the guy, moving like a 70-year-old, even though he's like supposed to be 30.
Yeah, I don't know. I got used to the effects and the aging. Once I got used to that after the first 15, 20 minutes, I just went with it.
Pete never finished it. I wonder if he magpied like I do, saw something shiny and just kind of chased it off and just never came back to the movie.
Just never, yeah, maybe. But Pacino's brilliant in it. It's the best performance he's given in years. And Pesci is totally against type. Again, does the same thing with his performance. So it really is worth watching.
You know what I noticed though about all this?
Sorry, have you seen Rocketman?
No, I haven't. I saw. What was the last musical one I saw? It was probably the Queen one.
Right, it's better than that.
And I was not 100% excited about that one just because they switched the events up so much. It's almost to the point where it's a fictional story at that point.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed that one, but
it wasn't bad. It was just one of those things where it was a little too in the forefront for me. Like this is like completely jumbled up.
Yeah, I know what you mean. No, this film is much better. I would suggest you give it a look, and it's probably the film you would have expected the Queen one to be.
Sure.
But it's a proper musical, people singing to camera, that kind of thing.
Right.
I didn't realise it was that either, and it actually works a lot better because it's like that. So any kind of liberties it takes with, reality.
Kind of closer to Jersey Boys.
Yeah. So it's I thoroughly enjoyed it. What else have I got in here? Have you seen Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler?
I haven't.
That's worth a watch. If anyone's got Netflix, he gives a terrific performance.
I've heard he was good in it.
Yeah, the film's kind of hard going, to be honest. But once you've watched it, you kind of realise why it was hard going and the kind of the style of it, and it's definitely worth watching. The Gentleman, I was surprised that was actually, really quite an enjoyable movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
You know what I miss about movie posters. I just don't see any here. There's just an over reliance of dudes standing there with a gun. It doesn't get you excited or tell you anything about the movie.
Yeah, it's
I'm just looking at people staring at me, looking mean. And
it's two things. It's actors' ego combined with their management, who say that they have to be on the poster, and Photoshop.
Yeah,
it's a lot easier to get somebody to just Photoshop something together than to get an artist to create something great.
but I guess just looking at these, like with no prior knowledge or seeing any trailers, there's really no poster here that gets me all that excited about seeing the movie.
No, there's none. I know none. It's sad. It's sad indeed. Let's see. Hello there, not my monkey, not my circus. Thanks for joining us. Avengement. So yeah, Peter's has seen Gentleman and Avengement. Avengement I put in there because it's a straight to streaming movie. It's Scott Adkins. It's made for like about 50 quid and a wing and a prayer. And it's ridiculous and it's gritty and it's I just think if it's a Scott Adkins kind of like movie streaming, it's worth watching. You're going to get something action-wise worth seeing if you watch a Scott Adkins movie. So that's why I've thrown that in there.
Mm-hmm.
There are better ones, but it's a pretty good one, to be honest. Shazam was a lot of fun. Shaft was a lot of fun as well. I enjoyed Shaft.
I saw that in a $5 bin. I'm probably going to end up picking it up and having a look at it because most everybody I've seen said it was great.
Nice water.
It caused a heck of a stir up back when it came out.
It's quite a funny film. The idea that they were going to make a Shaft film that was completely PC is ridiculous. I mean, it's Shaft, for God's sake.
It's not even like marketable.
Yes, indeed, he is. He is
good action star.
Bigger. If it was the 70s or 80s, they'd give him a TV show or something that'd make him a wee bit more money. But yeah, these are my kind of like honourable mentions. And John Wick was almost in my top 5, but it didn't quite make it just because it was John Wick 3 and it wasn't John Wick 1. So, you know. That's all right. And Glass was a good film. I enjoyed that as well. The third of the
haven't seen it.
Shyamalan.
Or Split for that matter.
Oh, Split's better.
Okay.
But it's not a bad conclusion to his trilogy.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard a lot of mixed, split reviews, mind, like this kind of thing. But I think part of it's probably just it couldn't live up to the hype.
I think so. Yeah, it could very well be
the downfall of so many movies these days with all the nostalgia they're bringing back.
Yeah, well, I knew going in it was like a low budget kind of Blumhouse movie, you know. They both were, so there's no way that we're going to be living up to Unbreakable, you know, production value and everything else. But they're very clever.
Well, it's my wife and I started watching Bill and Ted 3 last night, and we're struggling a little bit because they're not really all that. Like before, they were just kind of lovable idiots, the other two movies. And in this one's, I mean, they're the same thing, but they're, aging and kind of pathetic. And then they've got two daughters that act exactly like them. So they're basically just doing Keanu Reeves and, the other guy, they're doing their impressions.
Yeah, I've just kind of avoided that. I don't know.
And I think this is a movie where they're just happy to see those two back as Bill and Ted. Didn't matter what was in the movie, how it was going to work. Just happy to see them kind of doing it one more time.
Yeah.
And we've got a half an hour in, and it feels like it's been about an hour. So we're gonna power through. Make it.
Oh man, yeah. No, I've got to the point now. I give up. If I can't make it a half hour into a movie, I stop it. Yeah. Some movies that we'll maybe talk about later, I don't even start anymore.
Right.
But but I'll jump on then and will I do my number 5 first?
Go for it.
Yet. But first of all, Not My Monkey Got His Ardmore. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? I prefer kind of like peaty kind of malts, peaty and smoky. The more kind of like smokiness, the better. Number 5.
Number 5.
Now, before we go, I'm going to put up, it's not the best movies of the year or last year. It's the ones that have kind of stayed with me, if you know what I mean. So it's the ones that I've kind of like, I like that, and I'm probably going to watch it again. So that's kind of the criteria for me picking them, you know, as opposed to it's the greatest movie ever made. And my number 5 is The Extraction, which is a Netflix movie made by the Russo brothers, which is a much better film than the last Avengers movie that they made. Have you seen it?
Which one? This or the Avengers movie?
This.
No, I haven't seen this one.
You haven't? Oh, well, it's. I'll tell you about it. What it is you've got the mighty Thor, as you can see.
It's a different hammer than I'm used to.
It's a different hammer, and as you can see, he's back on track. He's lost the weight, and he's kind of like a mercenary sort of character, and
Sure.
The plot does not matter. Right? So it's essentially he's got to protect this kid and get him from A to B. That's the kind of movie it is, and everybody's trying to kill him. And it just has incredibly good action sequences, extended action sequences as well, like big one-take action sequences.
Okay.
The kind of stuff where it's, they combine real stunts with CG really well. Because it's not the huge budget they've got. It's obvious sometimes that they're doing that, but they're doing it with a real kind of like bravado. You know, it's like we're having fun with this. So if you get on board with that from the start, you will have fun with this movie. It's just full of testosterone.
I think I probably avoided it a little bit just because it turned out on not just Avengers, but all the actors in the movie. They're everywhere.
They are
everything.
They are. Yeah, they are. But most of the acting involves running, shooting, punching, kicking, driving.
Right.
And punching.
Sure.
And kicking.
And more kicking.
And more kicking. Yeah. So that's kind of like, I think again the director was like a stuntman as well. He's either a stuntman or an editor. And I'm going to check here. Yeah, he's a stuntman. He's a second unit director of the Mandalorian now. So that usually second unit directors need to be quite good at what they're doing, setting up action and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely worth a look if you like old school kind of like 80s action movies. That's my number 5.
Perfect.
There you go. Now I'm going to kind of like pull up your number 5 now.
All right. Before you do, I want to issue this disclaimer. These are not. Some of these aren't even like my favorite movies. It's just the movies that I saw that I liked because I genuinely, when I went back through the list, I didn't realize A, how many I hadn't seen, but B, just how underwhelming most of these movies were in comparison to older movies. So I'm gonna really try.
So this is Wullie's top 5 and Statto's. They're not too bad.
Yeah.
Top 5. Right. Oh, okay. With that disclaimer, we'll throw this up here.
Okay. All right. So the thing with this movie is, I like the monsters. I like the bioluminescence. I didn't care at all about the people. They could have cut them out. It's kind of like Transformers movies where you're just saying, let's have some robots bashing each other. What? No, I don't want to talk about these people. I don't care anymore. We're 4 movies in. We have the budget to just cut the people out, but they don't never do.
No, they don't.
It's one of those things where you can almost forget or blend kind of between the two, the first one and the second one, just like human parts. You're like, was that in the first one or the second one? But the monsters, they got just about everything right, and they probably crammed like 5 movies into one. In terms of getting all, Ghidorah and King Ghidorah and Mothra and Rodan into the movie. Did a great job with that. The monster fights were cool, but it's just one of those things where it's great to watch, and then you can have it on in the background, just do your thing, and then look up, See some monsters fighting. Sweet. Get back down to what you're doing when the people are on, I think.
So that's the poster quote from Statto for his in at number 5. You can have it on in the background, pop your head up every now and then and watch a monster fight.
If you can get yourself a supercut of just the monster scenes, I'd say perfect.
Go for it.
But yeah, it is when you go through it the first time, I think it's a slight failure. And I know it opened softer than the first one, but it's a slight failure because mostly you're just waiting for the monsters to show up. And then once the monsters have gone, you're waiting for them to show up again. It's kind of like if you have a martial arts movie and you don't care about the story, then you failed.
Yeah. And it's still no good, Zuki.
No, thank God. Potato Face didn't make it in here today.
Godzilla. Yeah, I've still not seen it, and I want to see it. And it's getting to the point. I don't know why. I think it's because I cancelled the streaming service that it was on.
Oh, okay.
So I'll probably get that back in a month or so because I just.
You know what though? In not too long, it'll probably be really, really cheap to purchase.
Yeah, I'll
some box set.
Get in a bargain bin. Yeah.
If they can get Kong versus Godzilla out next year, they're going to have a 4-pack of this, Skull Island, the first Godzilla, and Kong versus Godzilla. Because after that, I think the license, unless they renegotiated, the license has been pulled. They only are contracted for 4 movies from Toho.
So I quite liked Skull Island. I quite liked that.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was fun. The characters in it were like
it was Moby Dick,
acceptable. You know? Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
But yeah, this is like I said, one of those ones where you can watch it, just ignore the human stuff. The monster stuff is a lot of fun, and then I think they maybe took a little bit from Pacific Rim. I mean, like some of the ideas, a little for the monsters and stuff. That mostly lighting it with the bioluminescence and stuff like that. Sometimes it makes it a little difficult to see because the fights take place at night or in the rain or in a hurricane.
It's quite annoying now. They've got the effects to make them look real, and they try and hide them.
Yeah,
I don't understand that. But then again, they've done that for decades with fight scenes.
Oh yeah,
which is another reason why I like Distraction so much. Just like when you've got a proper stuntman in charge of the movie, he allows you to see the action, and it makes the film look 100 times better.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see the effects work as well and stop hiding it. But okay, cool. Godzilla, King of the Monsters, worth watching for the fights and the monsters.
Yeah, there's about 45 minutes to an hour because they could have trimmed some time off of this one. I'll be honest.
The movie's 2 hours and 25, something like that.
Yeah, they could have made that a 2-hour movie.
Okay. So shall we do your 4 then, and then jump to my 4? So
okay.
Be up on screen.
It's John Wick 3.
So one of my honourable mentions made it into your top 5.
Again, just because of desperation.
So the things people have done just because of desperation.
Yeah. Now, see, I like the action scenes. I think in this one more than the second one, with the dogs.
Yeah,
scene where they're what's that?
It's great. The scene with the dogs is
where they're fighting through and the dogs. Sometimes, just like the other John Wick movies, the fight scenes go on a little bit too long for my taste. You get like battle fatigue. I think I like I was saying, before I think it's more like a tap dance movie. You got like 6 minutes of choreography. It's not as much action. It's like a dance, really, except people are getting shot in the face. But yeah, I like this a lot. The only thing that I'm not a huge fan of, just kind of like the Matrix, I suppose, is it got way too big and there's a lot of fat that doesn't necessarily need to be there. The first one was like super lean. It was real small. It was contained. It was a limited location movie. And I think that was something that was very special about it. Yeah. Maybe in the way like the first Matrix was too. It was a very scaled down thing. And then the second 2 sequels, it was just like, let's just show them the whole world all at once. You could have just had another really small story where he goes up against a different kind of bad guy and it would have been just as good. But they had to get this whole huge underground world and all these traditions and all these, that part, I guess, where do you go when somebody's like basically unkillable? You got to send 100 dudes after him.
Yeah,
instead of just one.
I guess, but
kind of paint themselves into a corner. But
yeah, I know what you mean about it, but I think it's kind of got to the point where it's got a nice ridiculous quality about it.
Oh yeah,
I think I like that. I loved Mark Dacascos on it. I thought his character was brilliant and much better than the lassie that was in number 2. She was a bit.
Oh, the other was it Ruby Rose and Common?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a huge fight with her, but to be honest, she looked as if John Wick could have taken her out in seconds. So
sure.
Halle
Berry did a great job in this movie, and I usually don't care as much for her acting in a lot of movies.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's like it's very hit and miss with her, and this is, I think, one of the best things she's been in years.
Also, she did a ton of that gun training, right along with Keanu Reeves, so she knows how to handle a weapon.
Well, that's it. You believe her. You could put her in the place of Ruby Rose in the second film, and you could believe the fight because she looks like she's done the training. She looks like she's in control of momentum when she's fighting the characters and what she's doing. So yeah. Okay, yeah. So this better than Godzilla because the human characters are more interesting.
Geez, I have to see Parasite. I haven't seen that one. Pete was letting us know.
I was hoping you'd maybe pick that so that one of us could pick it because let's go in.
I haven't seen it yet. No. Saw the clip notes, The Color Out of Space, and The Lighthouse. Haven't seen Vast of Night or Parasite.
It was like I was almost going to watch Color Out of Space or Parasite the other night, but I was too tired, so I thought I'm not going to make it through then. Lowering into it. I blame the whiskey. But I think it's a terrific film. I like all three of them. I could watch it. I'm just hoping they don't blow it with
the fourth one.
Yeah, like John Wick, Quest for Peace or something.
Right. I'm gonna get rid of all the nukes. Fly them off into space.
In my phone box. Right. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to bring up my fourth one now. If I can click the right button. There you go. I'm totally up to date.
Now, I don't know what this is, but I want to see it.
To the moment with my fourth pick. I didn't even know it existed because I'm so out of the loop with kind of mainstream cinema.
That's a great poster too.
Isn't it? It's just terrific. It feels like it's a Photoshop thing, but it feels like an old school kind of movie poster.
Oh yeah.
It's a Netflix film. It's Gary Oldman and it's David Fincher. And so when I saw it come up on Netflix, I went, Gary Oldman, David Fincher, you give that a watch. And it's a story of Herman Mankiewicz. And he was writing Orson Welles' first treatment for Citizen Kane. And that's at the time this movie's set. So it's basically set with him laid up unwell and having to write this script. And when you hear that, you go, well, that sounds depressing. A guy that's kind of like bed bound writing a script. But it's incredibly cinematic and it jumps around. It's non-linear. It jumps back in time and it jumps back to him at the moment when he's writing the script. It deals with his relationship with Wales. It deals with his relationship with cinema, the real life people that he's like Randolph Hearst, that he's kind of like he's basing the characters on. So you get to meet him. He gets to meet the people in his flashbacks that he's writing about as characters for Orson Welles. It was a surprisingly sort of like original and fun movie. It doesn't rattle along. It's quite a kind of even pace, so it might be too slow for some people's liking.
Love me a black and white movie though.
Yeah, that as well. A lot of people might just avoid it because it's a black and white movie. But it's over 2 hours. It's about 2.5 hours, something like that. So it's quite a long movie. But he's incredible in it because I'm kind of hit and miss with Gary Oldman, and I think this is one of the best performances he's ever given.
Really? All right.
Yep.
Next one I plan to see with him is probably going to be Darkest Hour. I got that one on order.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. People doing Churchill kind of like sometimes just come across as, sort of like a TV sort of like impersonator. But I'm kind of more up for watching it now that I've seen this because he's incredible in this film.
Oh, I like Gary Oldman a lot. He He's one of the, I think probably one of the last like straight up character actors left. Now it's just kind of like George Clooney. He plays George Clooney in pretty much everything he's in. Brad Pitt's got two modes. He's got the smirking guy and then the other guy.
Yeah.
And those type of things. Like Gary Oldman's one of the last ones that'll like be a different person for a character, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, me too. I think his recent kind of roles, his recent films, he's kind of like he's been choosing some interesting roles, doing some interesting work.
Well, he got sober, so I mean, yeah, it's going to change things a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's not being sober helps. Didn't do any harm, but but yeah, but in the case of talking about this, he's playing a guy who is an alcoholic as well.
Oh, well, suddenly he knows.
Yeah, totally. If you like old Hollywood and anything to do with that, and it's even got a film noirish feel to it, it's like a neo-noir Hollywood story. You will. There's elements of this that you're going to, even if you don't end up liking the movie, you'll end up liking elements of it. It's a fascinating movie to watch. So I shall now go into my third one before jumping back to yours. What did I pick for number 3? There you go. I picked The Personal History of David Copperfield, which is only by Armando Iannucci.
This is not The Lair of the White Worm 2?
No, it is not The Lair of the White Worm 2.
Okay.
If there had been a Lair of the White Worm 2, there's a good chance it would have made my honourable mentions. Because it's an amazing film. The first one. I love that film. For lots of reasons. This was one of these cases where I saw somebody mention it on some kind of show, and I thought, I'll give that a look. It's Armando Iannucci. I tend to not like modern updates of old books. And this is what this looks like, but it's not really. It's almost like a piece of whimsy. It's a funny, light, zippy, very cinematic, and it's a lot of fun. And it's got loads of interesting kind of character actors in it, like Peter Capaldi there, who's great in it. They've approached it with the idea of doing, you think, oh no, it's one of these PC things. They're going to do colorblind casting. Works brilliantly. You don't even think about it once you're into the movie. It's a case of like the right actor for the right role.
Sure.
It's got nothing to do with the actual storyline because it's Dickens, so it's all about wealth and distribution of money and class and poverty, and that's all about. It's all in the movie. It's not got the same kind of weight as some of the kind of previous versions of the novel. So it's almost like they've taken the novel and they've created an almost whimsical pantomime version of it, and it's a lot of fun. It's really
Patel's usually pretty good in what he's in, right? He's fairly competent from what I've seen of him. He knows.
He's really good in this. Yeah. It's the wee boy who plays him when he's young, and Hugh Laurie's in it as well. He's got a terrific role in it too, and Tilda Swinton too. It's brilliantly cast, and it's a lot of fun. So if you go in, don't expect to be seen. It's not a representation of historic time. It's almost like a theatrical, sort of like magical take on a story that most people kind of know. Some people know it really well. If you know it really well and you go with it, it's almost like a fun kind of like a best of, from the book. But yeah, I would highly recommend it. Go in with an open mind and just relax, and it's very funny.
That makes me nervous when you say going with an open mind. It's kind of like when you have somebody try some health food. I mean, it's an acquired taste.
You know what I mean, though. If you've seen any of the previous Copperfields or you've read any Dickens, you probably you might expect it should be dealt with a bit more reverence to the source material. But it's not like it's a complete postmodern deconstruction. It's more like a postmodern Sgt. Pepper's album version of it. So it's a lot of fun. That's the way I would look at it. It's a lot of fun. So that's my number 3.
Perfect.
I surprised myself with that one, it was in my honourable mentions, and then as I was putting this together, I thought, you know what, that's actually one of the best films I've seen all year, and it's been 7 days long already this year, so
that poster looks like it would fit really well next to like Baron Munchausen or some other.
Yeah, it's almost like it's almost like a BBC TV kind of like budget compared to Munchausen, but doing the same kind of stuff.
Some sort of that's a Terry Gilliam poster if I ever saw one.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I'm going to add you. It takes me back to my. Yes, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, sort of whimsical sort of thing. Yeah, I like that bacon.
It can be health food.
Right, from this a little bit of light whimsy, we'll now move to your number 3, or should say your number 4, because you're doing 4 and 3, aren't you? No, you've done 4. You should put numbers on yours.
On my list.
You should put numbers on yours.
Never.
Boom.
Okay, so here's the thing with this one. It doesn't really feel like a Rambo movie.
It doesn't. No.
It doesn't. But it's still a Sylvester Stallone movie, and that's good enough for me. I love Sylvester Stallone's movies. And this one still had a pretty decent like bad guy message. I liked going after like the sex traffickers.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, that's right.
That was great. And
sex traffickers bad, kill them all. Yeah, that's a good message.
Yes, that's great. But I mean, like, one thing it does work with Rambo movie is still really bittersweet. Like, just when Rambo's gonna get, it's really, I think it still keeps with Rambo just because he's got two main characters. He's got Rambo and Rocky. Rocky's always the one that triumphs and, like finds a way out to find his, to be happy. Rambo is always the guy that fights and it just never turns out for him. So this is Rocky if he hadn't had a good life. Yeah. And I think this movie is still in keeping with that, even if they kind of switch it up and make him a rancher, and where he's trying to find happy. Because this was actually supposed to be the 4th movie.
Okay.
Except he was going in to get like the president's daughter from some sex traffickers or something, but it didn't work out to where he did that. So they went with the Thailand thing the Burma thing for the 4th one. But the ending for this one, I love the ending for the last one. I did not care as much for this or for the and Peep's right. This one was probably one of the most controversial movies Stallone had done in a long time. But it was touching because once again he loses a lot. I don't want to say anything about it, like for anybody that hasn't seen it, but But overall, the last 5 minutes, I think, really soured it for me. I like the evil, like the R-rated Home Alone stuff. Yeah. It makes total sense Rambo would be a prepper. Because, he's just trained to account for those situations. It is his home. But yeah, either way, it was a Stallone movie for me. It fit right in there with like the slam bang action that he's really known for, and in that respect it didn't disappoint at all. But you might as well have just taken the Rambo name off of it and just had a really great story about a rancher dad that's got something he's got to do. Yeah, but either way I liked it.
Yeah, the Rambo films are interesting because first one is relatively kind of like grounded for an action movie.
You can thank James Cameron for changing it like he did Aliens.
Yeah, but the second one is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. I remember I saw that second one I saw in the cinema, and I remember you would, if you just walked past the door outside the cinema, you would have thought we were watching The Naked Gun because people just laughed all the way through the second one. And I saw it was like they were treating it like it was a Naked Gun, which is I think is the way you should be treating Rambo 2 and Rambo 3. There's something about all the Rambos I like, and I like to revisit them all.
But he does convey that the character's still really brutal, and has no problem taking care of certain things, and I appreciated that. Trying to find his daughter, no real time to kind of quibble with the thing. Put the knife in the guy's leg and take his collarbone out.
Yep. Has anyone seen the extended cut?
What of this?
Yeah, where for
I
10
might have.
minutes during the flood at the start.
I might have. Not 100% sure.
No, I because I saw the streaming cut. I think that was just
I've got the
normal
Blu-ray,
cut.
so maybe.
You might have done. Yeah, I like that.
Old guys can still get it done.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, the fourth one was like the over the top
Fourth one was the one in Burma.
CG blood everywhere.
Yeah. But that one was really like that. Nobody knew what was going on over there until he made that movie.
No, and then in typical fashion, people ignored it as well.
Yeah, it's sad because I mean, and he's been trying to do that where he actually says something with his movies, and I really like that.
Yeah, but because he's making genre movies and extreme genre movies, the mainstream critics just ignore it.
It gets brushed off. I mean, like here, he's like, when I remember this movie came out, he was commenting on what the sex trade's really like, and they just kind of went, "Oh, you're a racist," and it's over, and stop talking about it.
Yep, that's pretty much it. But I don't feel sorry for him because he's usually rich.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't feel too sorry, but
it's a German Blu-ray of the extended cut.
Oh, weird.
I would advise people to check out Amazon the German version of Amazon, Amazon.de, for lots of Blu-rays that you can't get anywhere else. They're also especially good for like westerns, spaghetti westerns and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just weird that they get all these releases and we don't. But
yeah.
True. Okay, so yeah, Rambo Last Blood. Interesting. I'm not going to say too much about Rambo Last Blood. I'm going to maybe talk about that in a wee bit in relation to something else. So you just did two there. So it's me now. I'm going to do my number two.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't sound right.
I'll
moving along quickly.
I was going to say I can keep the stream going.
Yeah, moving along quickly. This is my number two. Again, it was like, is it the second best of the 2 years? Probably not. But I'm going to watch it again, and I really enjoyed it. And it's directed by a director, Mike Flanagan, that I think is one of the few auteurs working today, especially in genre filmmaking. I'm not the biggest sort of like fan of the original Kubrick version of The Shining.
I'll say it was overrated.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it, and there's things I like about it, but it's not like the holy grail of filmmaking to me.
Which is why I haven't seen this yet, because I was just like going, but I bought the DVD for the old one, and then I bought this on Blu-ray with the extended cut.
I think I've only watched the extended cut, so I don't know. I think you get a little bit more of what you're seeing here. This is a big spoiler, because you get to see Jack Torrance again in the movie, his ghost in the movie. And what is particularly kind of like good about the scene is he's played by Elliot from E.T. So who's really, really good at playing him. It's doing this kind of like almost Jack Nicholson impersonation in this one kind of scene that he's in. But yeah, I would recommend, even if you haven't seen The Shining, it's a good horror movie.
Yeah, my wife, I showed her, because I mean, she's relatively new to horror movies. She doesn't mind monster movies so much, but I showed her the miniseries, the TV one with Steven Weber.
Yeah.
Just to gauge how well she could handle all that stuff. And she went by fine. It was a TV movie from the 90s, not too much of a problem. So eventually I'll show her the movie, and then I'll show her this, because obviously if she watched that miniseries and then she watches this, it's like, wait a minute, I thought, the hotel got blown up at the boiler, because that's how the miniseries ends, close to the book. So it would be very confusing. So she's going to have to sit down and watch the Nicholson version, then watch this, seeing as how this is pretty much just a sequel to that. So that's where I'm coming at with this. But I've heard some like good and bad, especially like people that love the book didn't care so much for this. People that love the movie like the last 45 minutes.
Yeah, I like. it's almost a wee bit like two movies, kind of stuck together a little bit, and it's like a sequel to both the book and the film. You can read it as both. It's got. I like the book, okay, but it wasn't my favourite Stephen King. So both the original movie and the book, I don't have any real connection to. They were amazing, sort of thing. But with this one, I think the first half is probably the most interesting and fun. But when they get to all the Shining stuff towards the end, they do it all really well.
Cool.
It's kind of like if you've seen Ready Player One?
Yeah.
And they do that whole Shining scene, and it's just shockingly bad. And it's like, what are you doing? This has some respect for Kubrick, and it's obviously some respect for Stephen King's book as well. But it's got a pretty harrowing kind of sequence in it.
Okay. I've heard about it.
With a child in danger.
Yep. I've heard about that.
Yep. Which is great. I like those kind of scenes in my horror movies. And and it's got lots of really good performances, and it doesn't play it safe. It's like it's quite happy to kill off characters that you're thinking, wow, did they just kill that character? Yes, right. It's a horror movie. I think because Mike Flanagan's made the Haunting of Hill House. It's on Netflix. And Henry Thomas Elliott, he was in that as well, and he's made a whole kind of slew of horror movies from low budget to it's like
this way to do it.
And they all have like he's got his own kind of like group of actors and people that he works with, and the same kind of themes that he works with, and I appreciate that, because going in that he's taking the work seriously. Yeah, he was young Norman Bates, and Psycho 3 or 4, was it?
Psycho 4 was the one where he went back and talked about his life.
Yeah, that's the one there. That'll be the one he was young Norman Bates in. Yeah. So that's my Doctor Sleep. I was quite surprised myself that I ended up putting that as high up, because I'm kind of ranking mine in what I think are the best. So when I get to my number one, it's my best of the 2 years.
That's why I have no numbers. Mine aren't in any particular order.
Right. Well, I shall jump up to years now, and we'll go over. We'll go. This is your number 2, but not really your number 2, isn't that right?
I'd say honestly, this is my number 1 of the stuff I picked.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you want to go to your other one then, and then come back to this one? Leave that one.
Yeah. Let's, actually, I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4.
You've got 3 and 2 to do.
All right, I'll do. No, okay. Do I only have 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh well.
No, you've got another one there.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I've got 2 more past this.
Yeah.
As I did.
This must be riveting to everybody in the chat. They've got no idea what we're talking about.
No, that's all right. I'll go with this one next. Because I've actually got 6 on the entire list, and because
Are you sure?
Yeah. Let me look again. Yeah.
I would also, if you don't have Netflix, or you just get it for a month even, and watch The Haunting of Hill House and Gerald's Game, another Stephen King adaptation that he did, which is a kind of low budget.
I remember that one
film, yeah, which is really good. And they all have kind of flaws in them, but that's fine. You're gonna go, okay, fair enough. The good far outweighs the bad in these movies. I think we may be coming back to that, talking about this one here. I don't know. Am I jumping ahead of myself? Again, I've not seen this one.
All right, so this I took that point.
I think this is David McCallum, isn't it?
I think so. I took this point. I took this from the trailer, Golf Ball Man. I took this from the trailer, this scene, to kind of illustrate a few different things. Okay, so this is on my list for a few reasons. One, I just love the Invisible Man series. No matter what, I just think it's fascinating. Whether it's Hollow Man, although that one wasn't, still holds up, but it's not my favorite. So with this movie, there was a lot of like, it's woke, it's not woke, it's because it's got, like a female lead. I think she did everything possible a normal person could have done against somebody that's so much smarter than them, because, she's going up against the scientist basically. And the fact that they changed it to a suit, as opposed to a formula, I'm not sure I'm on board with, because this guy, I believe he also did a movie called Upgrade.
All right. Okay. I've not seen that. I've heard of that.
Yep. So basically, it's about a paraplegic, a guy that got a computer implanted in his neck, and the computer, it's like Knight Rider, except kits in your body. And there was a lot of like stylized fights in that kind of movie. And this one felt a lot more like Upgrade than it did like an Invisible Man movie. The woman, the lady that's the main character, she did a good job. There was no real like fight the patriarchy type character. She did everything she possibly could have. So I bought that. But this whole movie, it hinges on the Invisible Man, and he was a 2D character, like, straight out of like Twitch Your Mustache, kind of lay somebody on the track. You can't buy him. I mean, I didn't.
Just a new brave villain.
And it's just like one setting, no real nuance or anything to it. He's just a crappy dude with a suit so he could be crappier. I can't buy that. And I mean, yeah, if it's in the Invisible Man, the whole thing hinges on how good that is. Yeah. But I will say I did like the fact that they made this really low budget, really fast, like a horror movie, so they can make their return back and make more movies. That's kind of the whole point of it, especially horror, to do it right and do it really, really cheap. It's already got a sequel, and it was foolproof. I mean, it was going to make its money back just from the first weekend off of curiosity alone. And I'd like to see more like that. It wasn't written bad. It was just very by the book. All the scares are very, very telescoped. Like anybody that's seen more than 2 horror movies is going to be able to go, oh, okay, hold on a second, sound's dropping out, jump scare. Okay, what's next? Kind of thing like that. See,
what I like about, I'm going to go back to Dr. Sleep, what I like about Flanagan's work is, yes, there's jump scare stuff there, but a lot of it is there for you to see. He does this thing in his movies where he puts in the background or just off the corner of your eye, he puts what you're going to see, what's going to scare you. He lets you see it before it scares you, which is really brave to do, but it's a very good thing to do if you can pull it off. So just kind of like doing the jump cut scares for the sake of them, that gets old quite quickly.
There aren't even that many in this movie, but I mean, as just it felt a little more like a comic book movie than it, sci-fi comic than it did like an Invisible Man movie. Much better than the original modern Universal. Looking forward to the sequel, Invisible. Was there another Universal never did try again with Invisible Man?
No, I think he's probably talking about just the Wolfman and.
Okay. I was going to say, like, I don't remember. I remember there was Hollow Man, which wasn't theirs. There was.
I think they did one, but nobody saw it.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah. I'll show myself out.
It's. I mean, I think it's worth a watch from like a.
That's okay, Dave.
I think it's worth a watch from like a scholarly point of view.
Yep.
To look at this movie and the nuts and bolts of it, but I don't think too many people, there'd be some that's going to just knock it out of the park for them, but I don't think too many people are going to walk away from this going like, my gosh, that was just the best version. They're going to at best say that wasn't a terrible way to spend an hour and a half.
Right. If it's about 90 minutes, that's always good.
Yeah, it's not too long. It's about an hour and a half, maybe a little closer to 2 hours, but it moves along at a decent clip. It's just so by the numbers and safe.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Universal wanted after all the screw ups. They just wanted a very reliable movie.
Probably was
too reliable, but Blumhouse is great at cranking out cheap hits.
Yeah,
and this is exactly like Halloween. Also, exactly what this is. Hi, Dave.
Have you seen the Fantasy Island that they made?
I haven't yet. If
anyone in the chat has, let us know if it's worth watching, because I was shocked that they made a horror movie version of Fantasy Island.
I was a little hesitant on that one. I'm not sure I'm not sure what I think about that.
See, it's on streaming now, so there's a good chance I might make it a double bill with Invisible Man. I don't know.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I think you would be kind of fascinated with this movie. Like I said, the nuts and bolts of it.
Okay.
But I don't think it's anything that you will have went, I don't think it's going to wow you. But you know what? We could disagree on this.
Right. Well, yeah, I'll need to give it a watch. I'll try and give it a watch over the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
To say hi to Adams. Hey there, the Adams and Dave's joining us.
Hey, Adams.
You've got one more pick. We'll leave yours just now. We'll jump back over to me, okay? And then we'll come back to you for your. It kind of is your number one, isn't it? You were saying, yeah.
I've got 2 more on my list.
You get 2 more on your list because I'm going to do my most disappointing.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to do my most disappointing.
I put all mine into one thing. So there's some parts that disappointed me in the most of them.
I'll tell you what. Then I'll leave people hanging. If you want to do one of yours before we do your number one,
all right.
We'll do one of yours, and then we'll do one of my most disappointing. So, Bad Boys for Life is one of your picks. That's your number 2.
This one, I liked it. I liked it, except for there's a stinger sequence at the end.
Sorry, I just saw that.
There's a stinger sequence at the end of that sets up another one that I just was not crazy about. But overall, it's a studio movie. You can tell it's a studio movie. It's not Michael Bay, which is weird. He makes a cameo in here, but he did not direct this one.
Oh,
so it's going to feel a little bit different.
Possibly a good thing.
Yeah, well, it feels a little bit different, but they do a pretty good job. And it's your standard, we're getting older. We don't have, we can't do this forever kind of story. But I think it's handled a bit better than some of the other ones that have tried that.
I was going to put a Michael Bay one in for my worst of the year, and it was that one that was on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
What's it called again? I can't even remember the name of it.
Forgot about
6. And it made me physically sick watching it, physically ill watching it. But it was also hypnotic, and I couldn't stop. I had to watch the whole movie. That's
a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it now. It's got that guy in it that was in. That's what I mean. All his movies are like that with me. It's like, there was a giant robot in it or something,
Yeah.
But I was going to pick one of his. But I do like bad boy films.
Yeah, this one wasn't bad. I mean, if you like the other two, you'll like this. They do all the appropriate callbacks for a movie that's been gone this long. And there's a reason it stayed in theaters at number 1 for as long as it did. It's an entertaining movie. It's just there to entertain you. It's not trying to do anything else.
And 2 likable leads as well. Yeah, because Will Smith, when he's not trying to be likable and he's just acting well, he is likable.
Yeah.
What I mean?
R-rated Will Smith, so he's got a little bit more, the leash is off a little bit.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'd forgotten all about this one. I'm going to probably have to watch it on streaming.
It happens a lot with sequels now. I mean, I still haven't seen Independence Day 2 because I just keep on forgetting it exists.
Yeah, I don't know if I would. I think that's one I've actively decided not to watch.
Yeah. No, through no fault of its own. It just looked absolutely boring from the title down.
Yeah. I think what they really needed for that was to have Gerard Butler on it.
You think so?
Yeah, it could have been like one of those, Angel Has Fallen or whatever, Olympus Has Fallen type things with aliens. I think that would have been much, much better.
This is Earth! And then kick it in the chest.
Exactly. All these kind of films, if they're going to be really kind of by the rope, kind of
I think that
movies of that, they just a wee bit of Gerard Butler makes them that.
I'm liking smaller movies because all these bigger ones are looking the same to me. Just explosions, lots of car chases or whatever. Explosions. Throw some money at it. You'll get the movie done. That's kind of it's weathering me. It's
kind of like you get to the conclusion of the movie and the heroes and the villains or whatever, the protagonists, antagonists, they get to meet and it's going to be the final kind of part of this movie, and a part of your heart sinks because it's going to last about 25 minutes, whatever they're going to do. They're either going to fight each other for 25 minutes or, it's like Man of Steel, which I felt the movie would never end. Whereas in The Spy Who Loved Me, it's like Bond just shoots the bad guy.
Yeah.
He just shoots him. It's like that's it. They don't have to spend 20 minutes fighting. But
Right.
there's
But I
always-
mean, it's kind of just phoned. Some of it seems phoned in nowadays.
yeah, it is.
Got to come up with some new sequences.
Yeah, an over reliance on development as well. So they've got all the storyboards and stuff. They know what they want to do.
Yep.
Yeah. Bad Boys for Life. We shall give that a watch. Is it 90 minutes?
Might be a little longer.
Yeah, I like 90
Not too bad.
I'm off for the 90 minutes these days.
Yeah.
Right. Most disappointing. I decided to pick my most disappointing.
I see how you are.
Yeah, that was my most disappointing of the year. Yeah, there were other disappointments, but that was my most disappointing.
Couldn't live up to the hype.
Didn't live up to the hype. I found myself not really enjoying all the Home Alone stuff at the end because of what preceded it, and I just felt that it was dark and depressing, but there was no
Rambo's
depth.
world.
But there was no depth to the darkness.
Oh, yeah.
I felt it was very empty, and I also felt that he was out of character. I thought the character of Rambo isn't like if you put him in the situation he was in when he was actually in Mexico and he was trying to find her or that, he would have handled that much better. I felt it was almost as if he hadn't been trained.
Oh, he's old too.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Though it's like he would be smarter.
Yeah, I suppose
He was smarter in the other movies. People don't associate smartness with him, but he is. Once he goes into action, he's 100%. He's a fighting machine, and he's also kind of like he plans everything. And I felt that they lost that in that movie.
I wonder if Stallone was trying to bring some realism to it. Like he's going to go into a place he's never been before. He's not going to be able to plan a whole lot if it's all. But then again, it's a movie, so you should be able to do that. But
you should. I didn't buy it though. They didn't say that up for me. So
sure.
If it had been called Jimbo, The Last Stand, I would have enjoyed it more. I think. But in that end, you were not going to talk about to spoil it. If they'd actually used the Rambo theme, it would have probably got an wee extra point from me.
Hey, Pete Bakewell makes a good point. It seemed more like a Bronson movie.
It does, yeah. I guess.
That's cool.
That's exactly what it's kind of like. And the first half is, I agree.
Death Wish 8.
Yeah, it has that kind of like mean-spirited quality that a lot of the Bronson films had. Which you don't mind in one-off movies with characters that you've just been introduced to, but I felt that it just left to be a bit of a bad. No, I did enjoy it though. I also thought it should be. They should have played up more the Western aspect of it.
Sure.
Yeah, feel like a Western.
This kind of reminds me of that one Stallone or Schwarzenegger made, The Last Stand, where he played some small-town sheriff. It was a very
that was good
kind of thing. Although
that was ridiculous.
I was going to say, I think Stallone's movies age a bit better than Schwarzenegger's tend to. Although both have a lot of classics, I personally, it must be just a preference. I just like Stallone's movies a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot of reallys.
Yeah, I have to disagree with the last part. Sorry. In fact, that last part sounds like a J.S. Franco directed movie. Yeah, so that's my.
Gotta bring that one up. He's made an appearance more than the apes have.
Pretty much. I know. The apes, but the apes have made a lot of appearances. That is my most disappointing.
Here it is.
Right. Does anybody want to guess what the worst is?
Dracula in Istanbul.
No, that is not the worst because Dracula in Istanbul had a number of things going for it. The first 20 minutes were they were spot on. They were very kind of like the book in their own way. It had the first dance number was entertaining, and
I don't even remember any of it.
Here's the thing: I watched the BBC 1970s version recently. I watched it again. And do you know what Jonathan Harker does to get rid of Dracula in the castle? he hits him with a shovel.
That's right.
Yeah, I watched it and I went, oh my God, maybe that's in the book and I've forgotten about it. But he actually hits him with a shovel. So even then, back in Istanbul, he does it with a lot more gusto in Dracula in Istanbul. But
Some innovation right there.
But I was like, oh my God, he actually did it. And I felt myself saying out loud, he's hit him with a shovel. But no, it's not Dracula in Istanbul. And I agree, yes, indeed. There was some great dancing. And yes, yeah, it's far better than it's given credit for being as a Turkish Dracula movie.
I think when you got Peephole Circus like defending American Werewolf in London, I think we found Pete Bakewell's.
That's it. I think that's it. Maybe we should get Pete on here with Pete, and we should have like a werewolf versus Dracula in Istanbul.
I'll let you finish in a minute. But Dracula in Istanbul was the best adaptation. I see how it is.
Yeah, at least our show was entertaining, at least.
For them.
Yeah. Hit him with a shovel, indeed. So, yeah, my worst of the year, because it's last year as well, remember. I actually went to see this in the cinema. We were in Glasgow. We had to catch a train. It was about 2.5 hours before the train was like going to be in stations. I was going to see a movie. There was only one movie that was within the window that we had that we could actually go and see.
Are you piling on excuses before we start this, or?
So my worst of the 2 years was Captain Marvel and Spider-Man: Far From Home, and they're definitely the last ones I'm going to go and see in the cinema. I can't even talk about Captain Marvel. The fact that it's just mediocre is really quite annoying. You know, it's okay. It's got jokes on it. They made people laugh. I even laughed at them. So you're kind of enjoying it at times as you're watching it.
I don't know if I did laugh.
But in a cinema with an audience, though, it's a different thing. You know, people are laughing at it. You kind of feel, oh, yeah, this is fun. But as it was going on, things were just annoying me. One was this complete contempt for the original source material.
I did go to see this in the theater.
Right, see, that's how bad it is. You can't even remember whether you saw it in the theatre or not. What was your excuse? You were held at gunpoint.
No, it was tradition to go at that point. Spider-Man: Far From Home was actually the first one we missed. It was after Endgame, so it was just like, I think we can wait on that one. We just my wife and I was never able to line up to get to see it. So that was the first one we actually watched since Iron Man.
All right.
At home first.
Right. See, I used to enjoy going to see it in the cinema, and this has kind of dampened that a little bit. And that's the cat is the reason why, more than anything.
They made a lot of merchandise on that cat.
Oh,
he was the Baby Yoda.
Yeah, the cat scratches Samuel Jackson on the face, on his eye, and he's the reason. The cat is the reason that he ends up with his eye patch as Nick Fury,
which ruined that line in the Captain America: Winter Soldier.
It just ruins the character. The character's just there for a joke, so that cat ladies and merchandise can be sold. You know, it's like well, please, cat ladies, they're not selling cat ladies, I don't think. I love it, but past them. Talking about cat ladies, they've got what they did to the original Marvel there. No, it's just complete disdain for the original character of both Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel.
I think for my part, she just didn't have an arc. She was the exact same in the beginning as she was in the end, except she got the chip taken off of her neck, so she was just stronger than everybody. Yeah,
but she's an unlikable actress insofar as she doesn't have any kind of natural charisma. So she's playing a character who's not particularly likable for the first half of the movie anyway, or for most of the movie. But she doesn't have a natural charisma about her. So you don't invest in the character. That might sound like a cruel thing to say, but it's true.
I think she said she was trying to play it like a guy would play it, like super serious and confident or something like that, and it didn't quite play off like she thought.
Yeah, but the problem with that is if you take an actress like Michelle Yeoh, she could do that. Because she's got natural charisma. So she brings a personality to the part. So she can do that. but unfortunately, Brie Larson is she's a supporting actress. She's not a lead.
There was never really a point in this movie that I can remember she was really in danger.
No, it's a terrible movie, and it leads on to Spider-Man: Far From Home, which is in many ways even worse.
Oh yeah, what'd you hate about that one? The fact that they made Mysterio an Iron Man guy, or they made Spider-Man an Iron Man guy?
Everyone's an Iron Man guy in it. I like the casting of Mysterio. I liked some of the sequences that they did, the effect sequences, the action sequences were really
good. That ending scene with him.
Yeah, some of the stuff was fun, but as a movie overall, it just felt very cynical and flat, and it's made me not want to watch any more Marvel movies. I think I'm done with them now.
That one did, or
that one did.
That one, okay, I was going to say that one or Endgame or Captain Marvel.
Endgame was okay. Endgame, I didn't mind. It was what it was. It came after Captain Marvel, so you knew she was going to be in it and forced into it, but it didn't ruin the movie.
I think Endgame and Infinity War, after, in retrospect, they just seemed like clip shows, like deleted scenes from one movie.
Yeah, I know what you mean, especially
so many characters.
Yeah. I think that Spider-Man: Far From Home is the one that's broken it.
Yeah. I was starting to get tired of it around halfway through Phase 3, around Doctor Strange. Around that point was when I was starting to feel the fatigue. It's the 3 movies a year. That's what's killing me.
Much.
Like I liked when it was 1 and you had something to look forward to. And then they had a little more time to get the movie right. If there was a problem with it, they had a little more time for development. But now it's just like churn it right out.
Yeah.
And DC to a point is getting there, but I mean they did have a little bit more of a varied quality because they had different teams working on it and they had a little more time between releases.
Yeah. I think, to answer Pete's question, I think he makes that comment in Shaft, but unfortunately not in this, I don't think.
Well, it's all Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah. They DH him, and it doesn't really work because he does a lot of running in it, and he looks like a middle-aged guy running.
Well, he's got a heavier face. If you look at Die Hard 3, he had a much thinner face.
Yeah, it just doesn't really work. And it looks like it just looks like a cheap multi-million-dollar movie as well, which is really bad. And so does Spider-Man: Far From Home. They look like multi-million-dollar TV movies.
Peep says not a fan of superhero films. Costumes look silly in real life for me. I will say I could usually buy into it, but I am just nowadays more interested in just regular people going through some extraordinary circumstances. That's kind of where my jam is.
Yeah.
Whether it's supernatural or not.
Yeah, but the one film that I didn't put on here, I should have put on my honourable mentions, and I was going to put in, I just forgot to put it in because it was that many, was The Joker.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I really liked that. That was one that, excuse me, I haven't seen it since it was in the cinema, but
sure.
If I'd watched it recently, it might have made it into my top 5.
I liked it okay. I'm not a huge fan of Scorsese, though, so I mean, that's pretty much, they were doing like a pastiche on that.
Because Taxi Driver is one of my favourite movies, so I kind of really enjoyed it. Yeah. But yeah, that's me. That's the worst. And I didn't even put this in here for clickbait like a lot of people do. I should have put Brie Larson in her thumbnail and made this our clickbait for the show. And, got some extra lots of dislikes for Brie Larson fans. Please remember to like this video or dislike it if you're a Brie Larson fan. All 3 of you. Shall I do my favourite and then we'll jump on to yours?
Yes. Please,
okay.
Like I'm dying to know.
This for me is the best film of 2019, and still haven't seen movies this year. It's the best movie of the 2 years as well. It's Ford versus Ferrari if you're American, and Le Mans 66 if you're in Europe.
And
it's a terrific movie.
This is on my list to see.
Yeah. I'll tell you why I like this film so much. I hate movies about car racing. Like, if you've seen Grand Prix or Le Mans, the older ones for the 60s, Grand Prix with James Garner and Le Mans with, what's his name, Steve McQueen.
Yep, it's like 2/3 of the movie is racing.
And they are just so dull. And it's a soap opera, and then it's like 20 minutes of racing. And it's high end, like really well filmed racing.
I was going to say, how are you going to hate on Days of Thunder, Top Gun with NASCAR?
Yeah, it's like, again, NASCAR's like, as a sport, NASCAR is like, I can't really get my head around it as a sport. Maybe you could explain it. Can you explain to us why people like NASCAR?
Maybe it's hypnotic and relaxing. Just watching those cars go round and around, drinking some beer. I think they do that there.
Having a goldfish in a bowl.
I don't think I've watched an entire lap of NASCAR, much less a race.
Yeah, well, that's me. So I'm going into this, and I'm not liking them, but I'm like, okay, hang on a minute. This is James, Mangold, who made Logan, and he made the Johnny Cash one, Walk the Line.
Yep.
So good with characters. So I'll watch this. Good actors like Christian Bale, Matt Damon. When you get people like him and you put them in with good scripts and good directors, they give good performances. So I thought, give this a go. Terrific movie. It's also got John, what's his name, the guy that played the Punisher.
Which one? Which Punisher?
John Bernthal, the guy that was in the.
Yeah.
He's in it as well. So it's got a terrific cast. And it's a story about the Ford versus Ferrari. It's about Ford going into racing and trying to get themselves up to the same level so they could beat Ferrari, because Ford they're in a bad state. Things are bad, and this is kind of like the plan to kind of make things better for Ford. And that's just the background to it. It's about friendship with these guys, and it's about
I'd heard the race is like way in the background.
Yeah, it's about heroic characters who are human, and the races are done exceptionally well. The races are both exciting to watch. They're thematic in that they actually fit in with the character beats and where the characters are at that particular point in the movie. So they serve a purpose other than just, there was a race at this point, we now watch the race. So the Christian Bale character, his characterization is enhanced and comes across the way that he drives and interacts in the races just as much as it does off the track when he's just, being the character and acting with other actors. It's a terrific movie, and I recommend it to people who don't like racing movies.
Yeah, this gave me like a vibe like World's Fastest Indian or something like that. You didn't see that movie?
I'm trying to think. No, what was that?
Anthony Hopkins, where he was trying to break the record with his old bike, or his old motorcycle. Break the land speed record with his old motorcycle.
I have not seen that, no.
Oh, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's about a New Zealander, an Aussie that wants to go, and he's got this bike and he wants to break a record. So he goes to like America to do it.
Yeah.
It's an older one. 90s.
Right, I'll need to dig that out and have a look at it.
Oh.
What's fastest in you? Okay, cool. Let's see what we got here.
What do we got where? Oh.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that one. That's the, what's his name? Guy that made Splash. Happy Days guy.
I'm not sure.
This is Ron Howard. He made that.
Ron Howard, yeah.
Yeah, the guy that
blank
made
person.
Opie. Yeah, yes, indeed. It's my number one film, so give it a go.
Yeah, it's not really a racing film. That's background stuff.
Yeah. Well, it does. It's got the big kind of rocky bit at the end. You've got the final race. So all the beats are there for Le Mans. You're talking about,
yeah, that's a lot like Rocky, where the boxing was just the background. It wasn't really a boxing movie.
That's it. That's what's so good about Rocky, because the fights, the character comes across in the fights as well. They carry it into the ring. and this does the same thing. So the characterization is taken into the actual kind of like on the track, and it will affect you emotionally. It's a good film. Right, okay, that's me. That's all my picks.
Well done.
Most
of them I haven't seen.
Most of them I've on the same years because I've not seen this one either. So we're going to just pop your screen up here and go with.
Just saw this last week, and I hadn't watched a war movie in a long time. Me and my wife hadn't. Popped this in because I still got like Midway to watch. I think I got Midway. I got Dunkirk. I got Heartbreak Ridge, Tinker Tailor. These are just war movies that I got in my collection. I haven't watched, but this one, I love the simplicity of it. I mean, it was very complicatedly shot. It's almost like it was done with some films are not about the theme or the drama. Whiplash, that's a great movie. If you guys haven't seen Whiplash, that's a heck of a movie. And also a Blumhouse movie. Shows they can do more than just horror.
Yep.
But anyways, 1917. So I love the simplicity of the movie. It takes mostly through like one shot almost. It's shot to almost look like a single shot, and they had to invent some weird camera work and stuff like that to make it work. But it's really just about a messenger delivering a message. It's a lot like a Tolkien-style Hobbit adventure in that way. Very serious, not like a fantasy kind of thing, but it's very much about a messenger that has to get his message orders to the front. And that's beautiful in its simplicity. And, like harsh, a good man in harsh conditions, just trying to get where he needs to go. It's not based on any one thing. It's more like the guy made it for his grandfather, in his grandfather's memory, because his grandfather used to tell him stories about World War I. So these are just kind of like elements of those stories put into a story. Because his grandfather, I believe, was a messenger in World War I, or scout. What's that?
It's one of these ones where I'm kind of like, I keep meaning to watch it, but I just haven't got around to.
Yeah, it's one of those ones I didn't know what to expect because I hadn't even seen a trailer. I just caught the look on it. It was on sale or something like that. So why not give it a try? I like war movies, and I was blown away. My wife was too. There were tense moments. We had more fun watching this than I think almost any other movie on my list.
Ah, cool.
Because it was like when they wanted you to like hold your breath, you kind of did, and it was a journey in every sense of the word. Beautiful stuff.
Before we talk any more about it, if anybody in the chat wants to put their top 5 or their top films that they've seen in the last 2 years, go ahead and do it, and we'll have a wee look at what you guys have got down as like your top films. But yeah, so this is the one that's all made by one continuous take.
Yep. They use a little bit of trickery, but I mean, like, they got like situations where the guys are walking, around a crater, and they walk, and the camera will just kind of follow alongside them because they put it on like a cable,
right?
And it follows next to them, and then it'll like pick up, and then they'll go from the cable, and then the guy will just dismount it right there, and then follow along with them. It's really impressive. And they had to dig all these trenches, so these are like real sets. Stuff like that.
It's Sam Mendes, isn't it?
Yep.
So I've still not forgiven him for Skyfall.
I think this will redeem him.
Okay. Yeah.
I think you'll like this one. This is it's got some bigger actors, but they don't spend very much time with them. You're mostly just following a guy. It's really good.
Cool. Well, Lucifer's not seen any of that.
That's my problem too. It's like, oh, I love this movie. That's from 1945. Oh shoot. Okay.
Yeah. I was surprised how many kind of films are worth watching. They're actually pretty good out there.
Oh yeah. It's just one of those things. You know what? I think it's the marketing. It's really terrible these days.
Yeah, because all you ever really hear about is Marvel and DC.
There's so many movies that I just look at like the cover or the like a little bit of the trailer, and I just go, no thanks. I see it later, and it's just like, wow.
Yep.
But this one,
I'm so far behind the loop in some things as well.
This one, you really forget you're watching a movie, which I was kind of shocked. Like, there's very little to take you out of it.
Yeah, Pete's been watching a lot of online horror stuff. I need to look into that. I need to get my horror sort of like up to date. Because I'm stuck in the 1970s for the most part.
Yeah. So, but I got over the last 2 months, I think I probably bought over 100 movies. Quite a few of which I still haven't watched.
Are you Bristolian and Dave in disguise?
I think he's got a bigger collection than I do. I probably only got about
I think he does.
half of what he's got, maybe 2,000, 2,200 titles, if that. Somewhere around there.
A few. I try to think if it's near 3 now, or it probably is.
It's really hard because I'll buy like collections of stuff, and that catches you up in a hurry as far as like one case, 6 movies or something. So you got to go through and recount all of the titles, not so much the cases. But I'd guess it would be at least anywhere from 1,800 to 2,000 at the very least now.
Oh, cool. So there's 4 recommendations. 5 if lots of good stuff.
Wrecking Sacrifice. Haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, so there's some online horror. Okay, I'm going to take a screen grab of that. There you go. Check them out.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I did not know that this had won 3 Oscars. I didn't know it was up for Best Picture. I didn't, because I don't really pay attention to the Oscars or anything like that. But this is one of those ones I would really say deserves it. Oh, Rogue with Megan Fox.
You kind of sold us already. The People Circus has combined both movies, I think. Yeah, the thing about the trenches is, especially in older movies, they always have them as much further than they really were. They were so much closer than you actually think they were in World War I fighting.
Oh, you get quite a bit of that kind of thing here.
Yeah.
Like, I think he really went for like historical accuracy on this one.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to put it into I'll move it up to the top of my list for movies to watch, I think. Because it's there, and I keep going in and going, well, I'll watch it, and I end up watching something else.
You know what? Sometimes
I also look and see it as in 90 minutes.
Geez, I don't remember the runtime. Might be 2 hours.
But I'm starting to watch it late at night, and I think,
it moves by so dang fast. Like I said, with Bill and Ted, my wife and I were watching, like, we thought it was an hour, and it was maybe 36 minutes that we'd watched.
Right.
And this one, we're looking at the clock, and it's just like, wow, already, because of the continuous shot, there's really nothing to take you out of it. It just, you keep on going, and it's well acted, and it's very believable.
Cool. Do you have? You've seen my worst. Are there any ones that you kind of like? You have on your list,
the only one that comes to mind that I've seen, because I know there were some, really terrible ones that I avoided. The only one that comes to mind was Birds of Prey. And I would say that there could have been some a movie that's fixable in there. I know a guy, he's very much into, I don't know what you'd call it, almost like male feminist, that typical type. He gets so mad when people like rag on this movie. It's like, I thought it was a fun adventure. I don't know why everyone is getting so mad. And then when I explained what I had a problem with, I calmed him down quite a bit because these were legitimate concerns. For one thing, I didn't like the Deadpool, turning Harley Quinn into Deadpool.
Yep.
I think they could have done away with that. And this one should have been the R-rated one for our sake. Not, what did they do? Suicide Squad was like a soft R. Should have been a hard R. This one was the one that could have been a little bit higher. Because, it's the same problem as Suicide Squad, where you have all these villains and they don't kill anybody. They use like non-lethal rounds, bats, or something like that. Makes them kind of look like heroes when they're not. But they went out of their way to try to make this their Deadpool.
Yeah.
And then they had a tonal shift. Like in the beginning, it's a little more serious, and it just turns into some crazy comedy at the end. There's some unnecessary stuff with Black Mask, where they went so hard trying to make him like the quote unquote toxic male. There's a scene where he's sitting there just in the club, and these people are laughing. They're having a good time, and he goes, "What's that? Are they laughing at me? What do you think they're laughing at me?" So he goes over and he makes the girl get up on the table and dance, and then he makes the other guy she's with take her clothes off while she's dancing. He's like, "You do it, or I'll kill you." It's just like wasn't in the character. It wasn't necessary. Stuff like that didn't need to be in that movie.
Yeah, I've not watched it. I decided because it's like I'm thinking that they're not, again, like Captain Marvel. They are not being faithful to the spirit of the character.
They changed the characters a lot, all of them, every one of them.
And you can do that. They've done that in the past with movies, but you need to be a really good director and writer to do that kind of thing.
It was kind of birds. If anything, it was closer to Gotham City Sirens than it was Birds of Prey.
Yeah. So so I've given that. But it's 90 minutes.
It's probably, you could probably shut it off after 90 minutes and not listen.
Well, as I brought up Lucifer's here because he has seen it as his worst.
Yeah.
I've not seen. I don't know if I'm going to watch Wonder Woman 84. It looks terrible.
I'll see it eventually. One of these days I'm going to get off the bandwagon because I have bought every DC EU movie, like it or not. But I always get them really cheap.
Yeah.
But this one, it's got to stop eventually.
I was buying all the MCU ones. I've got them all, but it stopped. I didn't buy Captain Marvel. I
got it because it was like $8 Blu-ray.
You see, the thing is, see if I can get the 3D version for $3.99.
See, I'm kind of wondering if my taste will change like later on down. I still try to watch Man of Steel. Every few years, I'll pop it in and just to see if maybe there's something redeeming about it. And I don't think I finished it the last 2 times.
No, I'm being especially harsh on Captain Marvel, to be honest.
Sure.
It's average. But because it doesn't have any fidelity to the truth of what the characters are like in the comic, that's why it's my worst.
My problem was I never was a big...
It's so much more... It's... A movie like Man of Steel has no redeeming factors whatsoever, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm a huge Superman fan, so that was a hard one to take.
Yeah.
But then I was never a big fan of Captain Marvel in almost any incarnation anyway, so that might just be a little... And Doctor Strange, too. I was never just a terribly big Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, those characters in almost any incarnation. So I just kind of wonder if that's just general disinterest rather than, not a great movie for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. But I kind of I liked all those characters because they're kind of that Bronze Age era.
Right. Right.
Paul McGregor, Black Panthers, and Captain Marvel was all over the place, but Jim Starlin came along and kind of put it on track. So but all that stuff was ignored in the movies. Really,
I think at the time when I was growing up, the Captain Marvel was when they had like Rick Jones slamming his bracelets together. Almost ripping off other Captain Marvel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because in case you just burn Baby Yoda.
Well, look at the next comment.
Exactly.
Yeah, Unholy Trinity.
It was. There was good stuff in it. There's good stuff in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Happy Halloween. I need to go back a bit.
But this was a struggle. This is a struggle. Okay. It's much easier to just take movies that you like from a certain genre or something like that and bring them here versus 2 years of movies that just didn't interest me.
Yeah. We did all right, though.
We didn't do bad. Okay. I'm still not 100% sure on my entire list. It's a little shaky, but...
Yeah, mine could... I mean, if we were to do 2020, mine could change as the year goes ahead, because it's... It's just like...
I really should have explored more, but these movies, like, watching them, me and my wife would kind of just go, it was all right. It only encouraged us to go back and watch older movies more.
Yeah, because there's a lot of movies I'm sure I'll watch over the next month or two from 2020 that I'll be watching on streaming and go, that was actually a really good film. Right.
Sure, yeah, that's the disinterest hurt.
Yeah.
Taking a few bad movies and just like spreading it across the whole year.
Yeah, but no, generally, most of the movies I went to see even before lockdown were revivals. You know, so we were going to see films that were just been Jaws that were being brought back out again, and they were better than going to see a lot of the new movies.
That John Wick picture you chose there for the graphic, I'm looking at it. I know it's John Wick, but in my head, it's telling me it's Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula 2, The Harkening.
But the musical version with Tom Waits doing the music, Tom Waits, Crystal Gale doing the music. Exactly. It's a love story. Actually, that sounds like I'd quite happily watch that.
Dracula's back, and Harker's not going to let it happen.
Okay, that's us then. Talking about back though. We will be back. But that was our top 5. Or you could put that together as a top 10, only not really, because as Statto said, he's kind of like about some of the movies.
Double year highlights.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's good. That's a good tagline. Oh, there we go. Whoops. There we go.
He is undead.
Okay.
Fast at Night is a good slow burn and a great atmosphere on Amazon. Yeah. I just got my Prime year-long free subscription.
Yeah, I saw that the other night. I think I'll give that a wee look.
Or month-long. Yeah, it was the free trial. So maybe I'll take a look at see what's on there.
Binge. There's a good Larry Cohen documentary that was talking about it the other night. Give that a wee watch as well. That's good. But that's us for this evening.
Sure is.
So, cheers, Statto. Another good one. I'm going to be doing streams every Tuesday now at 11, or most Tuesdays at 11. I know a few of you have come along on a Tuesday night. So I'll be back on Tuesday with a stream where I'm going to just be colouring the Tatty Bogleman. And just because we mentioned that I'm going to be talking about Empire Pictures and Full Moon Films insofar as I remember them, without any research whatsoever. So anybody's there, that's kind of like, amongst other things, we'll be chatting about that as I'm colouring another page of the Tatty Bogleman. And anybody is willing to come along and join me, please do. But very relaxed streams, as you know. The last one went on for 3.5 days.
Yeah, it's because I came in toward the end.
You came in towards the end, yeah, because you're generally working, aren't you, when I start on a Tuesday?
Pushed it past 90 minutes. Dang.
Yeah, pushed it past. Lucifer Storm, he joined me last week. That was a lot of fun. Say last week, it was 2 days ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This is lockdown.
It's been that kind of a week. Huh?
Yeah. If I turn my camera on, you see I've got hair coming out my eyeballs. That's 3 days of lockdown and I already look like a piece.
It's like that movie Body Bags.
Oh, yeah. But we're going to be back. That was good. I enjoyed that movie.
You like that one?
Yeah, I enjoyed that. It's not a good movie, but I enjoyed it.
Right.
If you know what I mean. Yeah. But we're going to be back next week with Comic Book Gold Season 2. I know, seasons. I'm doing seasons now. What's that about?
My goodness, man.
So what we're doing is, rather than me have the usual kind of like interview people and they give us their top 5 things or whatever, the top 6, we're going to be doing season 2 as a number of specials, kind of themed specials, and the first one is going to be EC Comics. And we're probably going to touch on the movies again as well, because I think it's quite difficult to talk about them without, probably talking about some of the movies.
There's 4 movies and it's 2 different TV series, and
yep. And I called it From Beyond the Grave because I watched that again last week. That's a fun movie. So I thought, why not? So we're going to be here next week, and I think we're both reading some EC stuff at the moment. I know I am. I think you are as well, Statto.
Pete, we're just going to run a rerun of it and hope you don't notice.
Yeah, we're just putting some different images up on screen.
It's going to be the Planet of the Apes episode again.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure we could find a cover or a story that has an ape in it. Yeah, but that'll be us. We'll be here next Thursday, and we're going to do a Tales from the Crypt special, which is, I think that's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy that. And then I don't know if I'm doing after saying I'll be here every Tuesday, I don't know if I will be doing one the week after, but towards the end of the month, on the 28th, Lucifer Storm is going to be joining me, and we're going to be doing a horror show special. It's the second of my horror shows. The first one was a bit of a horror show, particularly because poor old Rabbi from another planet kept disappearing because of his connection. This time around, the first time we did Doctor Who horror, this time we're talking about vigilante revenge movies. So we'll go from, we're crossing all kinds of genres on this, but we'll definitely be sinking deep into the well or the bog or the swamp of revenge horror during this particular special. So yeah, join me and Lucifer for that. So that's pretty much January plotted out for the channel. Yes, that should have been my tagline for this one. Bronson and nuns. Yeah. There will be apes as well, definitely. Yeah. So that's us. That's January. So yeah, we're back after a wee short break. This has been fun tonight. Thanks, Statto, as always. Thanks for joining me.
I didn't know what to do with myself last Thursday. Just kind of pacing around the house, looking at stuff like there's no show today.
Yeah. What did I do last Thursday? What was last Thursday?
I don't remember. It was last Thursday.
Last Thursday was
1 week ago.
Yeah. I know what I was doing. I was eating bun, shortbread, and drinking lots of whiskey. That's pretty much what I was doing. Nice peaty smoky whiskey. Right. Anyway, that's us. So thanks to everybody in the chat. Oh yeah, that's the one I was going to show you. I will be back for another one. I found it. I'm going to be doing another Tuesday night stream, and I'm going to be talking about the House of Hammer comic book while I'm doing it. So that'll be 2 Tuesdays time. So I just found it there on my little Photoshop.
Been in the corner like Blair Witch for him the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
Good night, everybody.
That fun thought. Yeah, join me on Tuesday for the Team Dark live stream, and make sure to come back next Thursday for Comic Book Gold. It's going to be fun. Thanks to everybody, and we're going to call it a night. Take care, stay safe, and all that jazz.
Good night, everybody.